I'm Dale Smith for Learning Politics, and the House of Commons will be coming back on Monday in some form, if only to pass a new motion to determine how the next few weeks are going to play out. The Conservatives have put forward a motion that would see some 50 MPs sitting on a regular basis, allow for some kind of a voting mechanism, and would ensure that parliamentary committees have full power and authority even if they have to sit in a virtual capacity. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, on the other hand, has been touting the way that the virtual special committee has been going and insisting that he is all for protecting the rights of Parliament and how important it is, but that special committee is not actually Parliament. It's an opportunity for ministers to ask questions and one day a week to ensure that there's some level of take-note debate, but no actual parliamentary business is getting done. And by conflating what's going on in this committee with the work of Parliament, it's kind of giving this false notion that all that happens in Parliament is question period, which is not true at all. What I think is important to remember as part of this is that we've had 5 emergency bills passed so far which haven't had any actual proper legislative scrutiny. What's happened with them is that they've been agreed to behind closed doors, they've been negotiated and amended, and then when they're brought to the House, they're passed very swiftly at all stages, possibly with the opportunity for some speeches to happen beforehand, but everything's already been agreed to. So we really lost a lot of the necessary scrutiny that comes with the parliamentary process, as well as not being able to have witnesses called to examine these pieces of legislation or to offer comment, so that we have no real record of what these bills contain from experts' point of view or anything to that effect. So this is important when we're talking about what the work of Parliament is. The other thing that hasn't been discussed as part of anything to do with Parliament coming back in some capacity is the notion about creating a kind of bubble zone around Parliament. And what I think that could look like is ensuring that we have a set number of MPs in some, skeletal sitting, whether it's 33 or 50, and ensuring that they kind of create kind of a bubble around themselves so that they can sit several days a week over a period of several weeks. Because what's happening right now is that for the one day a week where there are in-person sittings, a great many of those MPs are flying in for the course of the afternoon and then flying right home. And that is, where a lot of these concerns about public health come in as we are in the middle of a global pandemic. I think what is worth exploring is this notion of ensuring that there is a bubble around Parliament in terms of MPs and staff, because we can't also ignore that as much as people think that these virtual sittings are safer, they're actually not for the staff. Virtual meetings take twice the number of staff as regular meetings, and they have to be in the West Block for those to happen. They can't do those jobs remotely. On top of that, interpreters are burning out at an incredible rate because the cognitive load of doing these sittings in a virtual platform like Zoom is a lot more difficult for them than it is in a physical situation when they are in the room with these MPs. So we need to be cognizant of that as well when we're looking at what our options are. I have a feeling that we are likely to see some form of a hybrid Parliament as was debuted in the United Kingdom, where there are a few MPs sitting in the chamber and then some video screens mounted along for MPs who are at home to follow along. Although that being said, in the UK, that only allowed for the participation of about 120 MPs out of their total 650. So there are certainly logistical constraints for R338. The danger in all of this, however, is the notion of making this a system that is workable over the medium term, as well as creating some sort of an electronic voting system for MPs to vote from home. Why this is dangerous is because the Procedure and House Affairs Committee last week, in their report on options for a virtual parliament, talked about using these as kind of an experiment for future modernization. And if that happens, then that kind of sticks a stake in the heart of Parliament, and we could see a permanent change to our parliamentary institutions for the worse. For Loonie Politics, I'm Dale Smith.